28 countries plant genetically engineered foods like corn, soybeans, and sugar beets. But if you were eating them, would you know it? A global movement has resulted in more than 60 countries requiring some labels on GE foods. So far, the United States isn't one of them, but one state is trying to change that. CCTV's Jessica Stone is live on assignment in Seattle, Washington for us. And Jessica, what can you tell us about genetic engineering?
Well, what genetic engineering essentially is it adds a new gene to a crop, like you said, sugar beets, corn, soy, and it makes it insect or weed resistant, thus resulting in a larger crop. So it certainly can feed more people. That's one of the reasons it's being used so widely around the world. Right now, there's no science to prove that eating these foods is harmful to human health, but the science is based on industry research, which essentially calls into question how independent it is. What's happening here in Washington today is that voters from around the state will have their last opportunity by the end of today to cast a ballot on whether or not they want GE labeling on their food, whether they want to know what's in it.
American grocery shoppers see labels everywhere: gluten-free, organic, all natural. But a label that says genetically engineered is harder to find.
And I'm sure that there are some in this aisle that are genetically engineered, but we don't really know.
Trudy Bialik, a grocery store public affairs director, wants to change that. She helped write Washington State's ballot initiative 522 to require labeling on genetically engineered foods. The scientific practice adds new genes to crops like corn, soy, and sugar beets to make it insect and weed resistant, allowing producers to grow more.
Companies need to label what they're already selling us. They don't have to change anything. They just have to tell us what they're already selling us on the shelf.
Well, you know, I think the facts are really clear.
But Dana Bieber, a mother of 3 children, says shoppers like her already have organic and non-GMO labels that give them that information. There's no proof, she says, that genetically engineered foods are unsafe.
They've been tested by organizations like the American Medical Association, the World Health Organization, and the National Academy of Sciences. In fact, 600 studies have been done, and they all conclude the same thing. Not only are GE foods safe, but they're identical to non-GE foods.
If Washington State passes 522, it would mean that any grower or manufacturer that intentionally uses genetically engineered crops would have to say so right on the front of the package.
Well, food producers aren't going to want to put a warning label on the front of their product. It's about brand integrity. And so to avoid having to place that warning label on the food, they'd have to remake the food using higher priced non-GE ingredients.
We've got China, Japan, Russia, India, 10 countries in Africa, Australia, all are labeling, the entire European Union. There's been no cost increase in any of those places.
We asked Washington shoppers, do you want a label?
I think it's good to know, and then people can make their decisions.
I don't think that modified foods is a big deal. I don't know how we would feed everybody otherwise.
It's good for the customers or consumers to know what they're purchasing, right? Even though if it has no harmful effects. Yeah, I think it'll be good to know.
I just want to urge you, Susie, to turn in your ballot.
As the window closes for Washington voters to cast their ballots, both sides of the debate are encouraging consumers to make a decision. Should Washington become one of the first states in the United States to label genetically engineered foods or not?
So far, the labeling supporters are winning by about 6 points in the latest polls. Because this is a write-in campaign, we should get the results by the end of the week. And it's important to note that Monsanto, Dow Chemical, and other major manufacturers of genetically engineered crops have backed the No campaign by as much as $10 million, spending a total of $22 million to fight this measure. Elaine?
All right, a lot of money on labeling. Jessica Stone in Seattle, thanks for that.